Hello, everybody. How's it going? This is Ryan with Cattler, and today I wanted to share with you some of the newest features that have recently come out. That would have been probably last week, and wanted to walk you through them so that you could understand and see exactly where they're at and how it would work, and also just show you a little bit, refresh some old items that we talked about. So, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. Excellent. All right. So right out of the bat, one of the main elements or the first elements that we changed would be we fixed these logos on the left-hand side. What that means is we changed the parameters over which these logos would be seen correctly in different screens, different computer screens. So some cases they were being cut out or not seen fully, but ultimately now you're going to be able to see them from any screen. Remember that if you click on the three bars, you see all the names on them as well. In addition to that, we also made this alert section much bigger. And I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but we have been adding a lot of news that could be of interest to whoever's on the platform. But ultimately, by selecting here, you're able to see some of the news and then go directly into the article. And we've also changed the alignment. I believe that in the next build, which will be in a couple of weeks, this main dashboard will also change. We'll also have some changes with it as well. One of the elements that changed on the feeding section is the fact that when you go to the load and drop section, into the feeding log section, you will see that we have added the percentages of the on the deltas of loads and drops, but also we have added this small notebook. This small notebook lets you know that this delivery was done manually. So you would be able to see that Sam's was done with box and cable, and that myself, Ryan, did it with making some change manually. What this allows you to do and see is kind of understand if somebody has changed anything after feeding and ask why, or understand that just this one has been done manually ultimately. On the mobile version, we also made some changes to the load and drop. We made some icons a little bit bigger, enhanced some of the words, and made them a little bit bolder, which the idea was to be able to just make it easier, more accessible, and cleaner to see. So that was another of the big aspects. One of the elements that I think is one of the bigger builds on here on those features is the fact that say for instance that you wake up in the morning and you realize that you want to maintain the ration but switch only one of the ingredients because you're running low on it and you're not going to be able to use it in accordance, but you want to maintain, you're not going to be able to use it because you don't have enough quantity for it, but also you want to replace it with another ingredient that has its own cost and its own price, its own cost and quantities. And what we changed is the possibility of switching out one ingredient and seeing that already trickle into your load and drop for that same day. So you don't have to make any changes to your load and drop like you would have had to do before. In this case, the only thing you would have to do is ultimately just change that ingredient. I'm going to show you exactly how that works. So say, for instance, I'm going to go to ration management. On the ration management page, you will see that we have all of our different rations, and I'm going to select test Cattler webinar, and say that, for instance, we are running low on oats as an example. Edit composition. I'm going to say, okay, I don't have enough oats to feed all of my loads for the day. So I'm going to go select choose input. And I'm going to go down and find oats. Let's see, instead of oats, I'm actually going to use earlage. And I'll press OK. And there you go. It has already replaced it. And I'm going to add 25% because that will give me the 100%. And I'll save it. So that being said, this is test Cattler webinar. When we go to the load and drop, and we find here all of our different orders for the day for feeding, we're going to go to test Cattler webinar, which is this third one right here. And if we click on it, we will see that the oats, which were on the previous ration, is no longer there, and that earlage as an individual is there as well. So this possibility of interchanging one ingredient, not having to change all of your delivery plan, not having to make a new ration, so on and so forth, has been something that's been very requested and helps you, sort out certain issues when you're about to start feeding for the day, and just make it as seamless as possible. So I'm looking over on the screen because I have all of the different improvements that we've made. Another of the elements that we made changes on was the Bluetooth connectivity. We're constantly improving the Bluetooth range, the Bluetooth signal, for narrowing down the precision on everything regarding what your either iPhone, Android phone, iOS, Android phone, tablet, or any kind of or iPad, so that you can get the best information to it directly. So that was another of the big things. When it comes to the report section, we first and foremost, we changed the layout that we had before. We added a new layout. But when it comes to feed deliveries, this one, before, what you had was, I'm going to change the dates on here. Just make it easier. There you go. Before you were only able to do you wanted to find the feed deliveries per pen per rations daily. So if you were to select here, get data, in a couple of seconds, you would have all this information. Remember that you can always download this into a CSV file and play around with it if you want to. But before it was on a per pen basis, but now we also have it on a per lot basis. So that was another improvement that we've done on the report section. There you go. So you'll be able to see on a per lot basis how much is actually fed. Let's see what else is on my list over here. Okay, going back to cattle management. When making a transfer from one lot to the other, let me see one thing. Yeah. In this case, what I'm trying to show is the fact that if you wanted to make a transfer from one lot to another lot, or from one pen to another pen of the different animals, what you're going to be able to do is not only identify the animals, but you're also going to be able to select them individually, which is what we talked about last time. But the new add to this is you're going to be able to directly load a CSV file in which you're going to be able to select which animals with which weights, with which class, with which breed you actually want to move. This is our way of moving ever closer to in the near future not have to use these Excel files, but being able to use any kind of reader and any kind of EID tag to be able to move them from one to the next. Also, visual tags will also work, but ultimately, this is the way that we're moving forward. So by uploading a CSV file with the animals that you're looking to move around, the Cattler, the software will pick up that information and allow you to transfer them from one pen to the next ultimately. Get out of here. Excellent. This is one of the elements I think was very important as we were growing. A lot of people were requesting this. Is before we had the supply section that had this layout for the feedstock, but it wasn't the same for the medicine. We changed that also for the medicines as well, so it has the same layout as before. So the possibility of changing the cost. Okay, so making any sort of stock adjustment as well, add stock or any sort of stock adjustment, as well as always the possibility of setting low stock alerts, which is very important. Again, these low stock alerts will always show up on your main dashboard on the right hand side, letting you know that you're running low, and also through a push notification on your tablet or phone ultimately. What we are going to be launching in the next build, which we think will have a great benefit, is the possibility of, when you create a new, we'll do it through here, a new supply, so it would be feedstock, or just feedstock, just for change a little bit the screen. If you were to add, we're going to be adding in the new build, which should come in a couple of weeks, is we're going to be able to add here an email, which you can associate this specific ingredient or medicine to a specific supplier. So that being said, that person will be able to receive direct notifications that you are running low on an ingredient, and they can reach out to you and be able to provide you with the best service possible, because they will know when you're running low. And that being said, it will allow them to reach out in due time and not have the ingredients you need to feed ultimately. Going back onto the cattle management side, we were talking about the cattle movements before, but now we're going to reach into the sales and purchases. We made quite a lot of changes on the sales and purchases. We ultimately changed the feel of it. It looks much cleaner. We changed the screen on here. Remember that whenever you do make a sale, you're going to want to select the new sale button, and then we also changed it, select the closeout. And you're going to be able to select any lot that was closed out, confirm, and then be able to make your sale ultimately through here, so that it is recorded, and it will be recorded like you see these ultimately. Where you'll be able to have the breakdown of that sale that you just made. One second. There we go. Boom, perfect. So this was another change that we made, a very aesthetic change. There's some changes that are all about making it visually nice to see and making it more digestible, the information that you're actually seeing on there. Before, it wasn't as easy to see. So ultimately, that was one of the good elements that we changed. One of the nice big elements that was requested a lot. Remember that the yard sheet is where you're able to see an overview of, on a per pen basis, in which these pens, in which all these pens, you had a bar graph in which, you had a graph in which you'd be able to see your feed delivery record. Again, this being a dummy account, I didn't feed for the last 2 days, but ultimately, the idea is that you have the dotted lines would be the target or feed, And then the green line, dark green line, and the bottom part as well would be the actual, how much did you actually feed. But the new things that we did on here is that we added the possibility of seeing the feed delivery record both in dry matter as fed. So you're going to be able to see that difference when you're feeding. So on the left hand side, you're seeing the in pounds, the as fed and dry matter, but then also being able to go back for 30 days. Yeah, oh, maybe I didn't have it for that long. That's probably why. Yeah, they've been on 8 days. There you go, 8 days. So I'm going to find one that's been on feed for longer. There you go. There you go. See, so again, the dotted lines is the target and the actual, but then being able to see on an as fed basis what your feed has been looking like and how you've been doing, but then also on a dry matter as well, being able to see the feed as well. And also being able to go back 15, 30, or 45 days in order to have the best representation of your feed. And then also being able to see total head or also on a per head basis would also allow you to see this information. Yeah, there we go back here. One more element of this, of course, this is a demo account. We do a lot of testing, but we did do some also pretty neat things. One of them was the possibility of having a direct access to the bunk score. So from here, you're sent directly to the bunk score screen, just to be able to see what your actual bunk score has been over the past couple of weeks, and being able to make any adjustments and seeing exactly, okay, if I've been adding more feed, am I seeing the same increase or not, or what is it looking like in order to make certain adjustments. Two other elements that we changed, or that we made improvements on, as I'd like to say, is when bringing in a new load of cattle, you're going to be able to select cattle in. And then once you select cattle in, the possibility of, I'm going to assign it to a lot that already exists, but you're still going to be, now you're going to be able to select a new breed and class. Before, that was set to what it was before, but now you're able to have a new breed and a new class in there as well. And when it comes to the closeouts, we got rid of an element that wasn't all that clear, which was the possibility to, when you were doing the cattle out, was we got rid of first party and third party sale. So we made it much cleaner, much slicker, much easier to get around. Remember that you can, when you're doing this, you're always able to backdate a departure date if you wanted to, as well as closing the whole lot, or deciding to close out a specific quantity of them, basically. And I do believe those are the big majority, almost all. I believe that these are all of the newest features that came out in Cattler. There's a lot of hard work that goes in behind it, but we are very glad to do it. And all of these ideas come directly from you guys. So the more feedback we get, the more we're able to make certain changes and continue to develop the program. So that's the fun part in all of this. I do not believe I have anything else. Please feel free to reach out. We are doing a lot of virtual demos for people. We know that being it May, it's a very busy season. A lot of people out in the field, and we are trying to move along towards the next season and trying to get as many people on board. So ultimately, thank you guys for the time. We really appreciate it. Hope this was very clear, and we will. I'll be sharing a new video probably in the next 3 weeks with the newest updates. Again, thank you very much for the time. I've stopped sharing, and thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please feel free and reach out. you guys know where to find us. All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.